When the noise of the world fades away and you're left alone with your thoughts, that's when reality begins to surface. Many run from that silence because it removes every shield they hide behind. It strips away the distractions, the fake laughter, the background chatter, and the opinions of everyone else, leaving you face to face with your true self. But that quiet is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally. Real joy and contentment don't come from a crowd shouting your name. They don't come from someone clapping you on the back or whispering that you're enough. Genuine peace is found when you can sit alone, listen to nothing but the sound of your own breath, and still feel whole. The reason so many people chase cheap highs is that they never learn to find comfort in their own presence. If you learn how to sit with yourself, to enjoy your own company when no one else is around, you'll never find yourself begging for attention again. Joy isn't in the chaos, it's in the calm. And once you understand that, no person and no circumstance will ever have the power to disturb your peace, because the moment you discover happiness within, you become unshakable. Solitude isn't a weakness, it's a form of strength. Society has convinced most people that being on your own is some kind of punishment, that it means you're unloved or unwanted. But the truth is, solitude is the single greatest chance you'll ever have to build yourself into someone solid. Needing constant chatter, constant company, and endless stimulation to feel alive, that's weakness. Strength is being able to stand in complete silence with no one around and still feel unstoppable because you know who you are and what you represent. Alone time is where you uncover the voice inside you that the world keeps trying to silence. In solitude, you begin to separate what you truly want from what others told you to want. You stop living for claps and cheers, and you start living for your mission. That's when you see clearly that the strong aren't the ones standing in the middle of a crowd, but the ones who carry themselves firmly even when no one's watching. Becoming comfortable in solitude is like training quietly for a battle nobody else even knows exists. Most avoid being alone because they don't want to face the parts of themselves they've been running from. Instead, they drown themselves in endless scrolling, meaningless chatter, shallow validation, endless escape looking into the mirror of their own soul. But solitude forces you to confront those shadows. It teaches you to overcome them. It transforms your pain into fuel because no one is coming to save you except yourself. That's true power, to rise up without a hand to lift you, without a shoulder to lean on, fueled only by your will and your vision. Many confuse solitude with loneliness. But loneliness isn't about the absence of people, it's about the absence of connection to yourself. If you can't sit with your own mind for an hour without needing distraction, you don't truly know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, how can you expect anyone else to respect you? Solitude teaches self-respect. It teaches self-control. The habits you build when no one is watching but ones that define you. Do you use your time alone to strengthen your body, sharpen your thoughts, craft your goals, or do you waste it? Time alone always tells the truth about who you are. And here's the reality: those who accomplish greatness in any area are the ones who mastered being alone. The athlete training unseen before ever stepping into the spotlight. The rever stepping countless nights wrestling with words no one else will ever know. The entrepreneur grinding while everyone else is out celebrating. The warrior sharpening his blade long before the battle even arrives. They all know that solitude isn't emptiness. It's the forge where iron is turned into steel. You can't develop true strength if your happiness depends on the presence or approval of others. The moment you rely on constant validation, you've already given away your power. That dependence makes you fragile, easy to control, and always desperate for someone else's approval. But the one who finds contentment in their own company becomes untouchable. People may leave, opinions may shift, the world might turn cold, but you'll still be steady, still unbroken, because your foundation is built inside yourself. That's the hidden strength of solitude. It gives you independence of spirit. It provides a type of confidence no one else can steal. Understand this: solitude isn't about locking yourself away forever. It's about laying such a strong foundation within that when you re-enter the world, you're immune to its storms. It's about being so grounded in your identity that betrayal, rejection, or loss can't shake your core. When you embrace solitude, you begin to carry a presence that demands respect because people can feel that you don't need them. You choose them. And there's nothing stronger than being complete by yourself while still strong enough to share that wholeness with others. Most spend their lives sprinting away from themselves. They go from relationship to relationship, party to party, distraction to distraction, desperate to avoid their own reflection. But if you train yourself to be at ease in solitude, silence becomes a friend. You welcome it because silence holds the answers. It's in the quiet that your inner voice speaks the loudest. Silence is where you heal, where you create, where you rise. Never mistake solitude for fragility. Fragility is needing the crowd just to feel alive. Strength is being alone and still feeling unstoppable. Fragility is breaking apart when others walk away. Strength is staying whole even when left behind. Fragility is drowning in silence. Strength is bending it, shaping it, and turning it into fuel. If you want an indestructible spirit, stop fearing solitude and make it your tool. Transform it into your weapon. Because the person who can draw strength from solitude cannot be broken. They cannot be manipulated. They cannot be stopped. And once you reach that point, you don't just survive, you thrive. You become someone who doesn't need calm from the world because you've already built calm inside yourself. That's real strength. That's the most powerful force you can embrace. External validation will always fade. Inner peace is lasting. The reality is, most people spend their entire lives chasing approval like addicts craving their next fix. They crave likes online, compliments from strangers, applause from crowds, approval from people who don't even matter. Each time they get it, they feel a short burst of satisfaction, but it never lasts. Like any drug, the high fades and soon they're craving more, begging to be noticed, desperate for attention. That's the cycle of dependency. When your happiness depends on others, their pranks you smile, but their silence makes you crumble. That's no way to live. Because applause fades, people move on. Opinions change. One day you're celebrated, the next you're forgotten, and if your sense of worth is tied to that, you'll always be enslaved to their approval. But inner peace, that's permanent. It's when you no longer care whether they cheer or boo, whether they recognize you or overlook you. It's when you can look in the mirror and know you're enough without needing anyone's permission to feel it. It's the ability to walk into a room without needing to be noticed because you already feel whole inside. That kind of freedom is rare because most people tie their worth to outside applause. Depending on external validation makes you weak because it gives others control over your emotions. You hand strangers the keys to your self-worth. You let critics, friends, even enemies dictate how you feel. That's why people collapse so easily. A single insult, a single rejection, a single failure, and they break. Not because they were born weak, but because they built their foundation on shifting sand. But the moment you turn inward and start cultivating peace from within, nobody can take it from you. You reclaim control. You choose. Building inner peace isn't arrogance and it isn't isolation. It's creating a core so steady that no matter what happens around you, the inside remains calm. Praise comes, you smile. Insults come, you still smile. Why? Because your joy isn't chained to their voices. When your happiness comes from within, life feels lighter. You stop stressing about who likes you, who claps for you, who supports you. You stop begging for love because you've already given it to yourself, and once you give it, become untouchable. And think about all the times you accomplished something and secretly waited for recognition. You wanted someone to notice, to congratulate you, maybe even envy you. And when nobody did, your achievement felt smaller. The truth is, what you achieved was never worthless. The only thing that made it feel less was your dependence on others to validate it. Genuine accomplishment is when you can reach a goal and feel proud regardless of whether anyone claps for you. Real resilience is knowing your value even in the absence of recognition. True calm is when your spirit remains steady, even when there's nothing but silence around you. Seeking validation from outside is fragile because it rests on the shifting tides of other people's moods and opinions. Today they may celebrate you, and tomorrow the same people might tear you down. If your self-worth is tied to their approval, you'll remain stuck on an emotional roller coaster forever. But lasting peace comes from within, from living in harmony with who you really are and who you consciously choose to become. It grows from your morals, your discipline, your integrity. Nobody can rob you of that unless you willingly hand it over. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing validation, that's when authentic respect starts flowing toward you. People naturally gravitate toward those who don't beg for attention. They sense the strength of someone who is steady, composed, and independent. The less you crave approval, the more you're likely to receive it. Yet by the time it comes, you'll hardly care, because your joy will no longer depend on it. That is genuine freedom. Picture this: every morning you rise without feeling the urge to prove anything to anyone. You no longer need to impress, to seek applause, or to collect approval. You simply focus on your goals, stay rooted, remain at peace with yourself. Criticism can't crush you. Compliments can't control you. Silence can't intimidate you. That is what it means to live with unshakable inner calm. That is what makes you powerful beyond measure. External validation drifts like passing shadows, but inner peace, once built, becomes permanent. It shields you against the chaos of life. It grounds you in stormy flame even when the world turns cold. If you want unbreakable strength, stop running after approval. Quit pleading for attention. Refuse to shape your life around the shifting opinions of others. Instead, cultivate unwavering stability within. Teach yourself to recognize your own value. Learn to be proud of who you are becoming. Love yourself without waiting for anyone's permission. When you achieve that, you will no longer be a prisoner to fleeting recognition. You will command lasting peace. Learning to enjoy your own presence is the seed of unstoppable confidence. Most people never realize this because they are addicted to the company of others, terrified of what it feels like to face themselves in solitude. They crave endless chatter, distractions, and noise because stillness exposes them. They struggle to sit with their own minds without discomfort. And that's exactly why their confidence is weak. It's built on fragile foundations. If you can't be content with yourself, you don't truly trust yourself. If you don't know yourself fully, how can you possibly hold firm in the world? Confidence doesn't come from applause or the crowd cheering your name. It doesn't come from surrounding yourself with people 24/7. True strength shows up when you can stand alone and say with certainty, I am enough. Being comfortable in your own company means you no longer need constant attention, entertainment, or validation because you genuinely enjoy who you are. When you arrive at that stage, nothing can stop you. What others dread is loneliness, you embrace as power. Where most crumble in silence, you find serenity. Where others beg for attention, you generate energy. Confidence born within cannot be shaken by rejection, betrayal, or abandonment, because you've built a relationship with yourself stronger than any bond with others. Think about it, most people's sense of worth collapses the second they are left alone, iffy, invisible, empty, or inadequate. But what if you flipped solitude into opportunity? A chance to reflect, create, heal, and evolve. That single shift in perspective changes everything. When you embrace your own company, solitude is no longer punishment. It becomes freedom. You gain the freedom to think without interruptions, to dream without critics, to grow without noise, and to create without waiting for permission. This is where true confidence is born. Confidence is not loud. It isn't about showing off or proving something to the world. It is quiet power. It is walking into a room without needing to dominate because you're already secure within yourself. It's holding your ground even when nobody notices because you don't depend on their attention. It's being unchanged whether people admire or despise you. That kind of stability only comes when you truly enjoy your own presence. When you value your own company, you stop chasing empty relationships. You stop tolerating fake friendships built on shallow validation. You stop clinging to people just to fill an inner void. Instead, you start choosing connections from a place of strength, not fear. You no longer wonder, who will keep me company? Instead, you ask, who is worthy of my company? That shift alone is a superpower because it means you refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. That is unbreakable confidence. Many think confidence is built on how others perceive you, your looks, your reputation, your possessions. But all of that can vanish in an instant. Real confidence is forged in how you see yourself when no one else is watching. Can you face yourself in the mirror and feel proud of the person you are becoming? Can you sit with your own thoughts without needing an escape? If your answer is yes, you are already ahead of most, because the world is full of people who can't handle their own reflection. Loving your own company doesn't mean isolating yourself forever. It means mastering your inner world first, so that when you step into society, you carry a presence that cannot be ignored. People instinctively notice and at ease in their own skin. They feel the energy of someone who doesn't require approval to feel worthy, and that draws them in. Ironically, the more you enjoy solitude, the more magnetic you become around others. You no longer chase attention, attention starts chasing you. But you must be willing to endure the discomfort first. The discomfort of confronting flaws, of embracing the parts of yourself you once hid. That process is not easy. It takes courage. But once you pass through it, you emerge untouchable. So ask yourself, can you sit alone for hours and remain at peace? Can you laugh at your own jokes, enjoy your own thoughts, and generate your own joy? If you can, you've already laid the foundation of true confidence. The person who finds joy in solitude will never beg for another's presence to feel whole. They will not lose themselves in crowds, nor fear rejection, nor collapse in loneliness. They remain complete. And completeness is the source of all confidence. Learning to love your own presence isn't just about being okay with solitude. It's about self-mastery. And once you've mastered yourself, there is nothing left to fear. You become your own foundation of strength, your own wellspring of happiness, your own supplier of validation. And when you reach that level, you possess something untouchable, indestructible confidence. Silence uncovers that distractions try to hide. Most people run from silence as if it were dangerous. They fear stillness because it strips away the noise they use as a mask. They bury themselves in endless scrolling, in meaningless conversations, in music, parties, or shallow relationships, anything to avoid confronting themselves. But silence holds the answers they are avoiding. Silence doesn't flatter or disguise. It doesn't hide your weaknesses. It exposes the real you, what you want, what you've been denying, and what needs to change. That is why so many fear it. Yet silence is not an enemy. It is a mirror. It reveals what you've been searching for all along. The world is designed to keep you distracted, to keep you dependent on noise so you never build real strength within. But the moment you sit quietly, with no phone, no music, no chatter, you begin to hear the voice inside that's been silenced for years. Inner voice tells you your true needs, your hidden desires, your ignored truths. It shows you what has to shift. The truth may sting, but it is the only path to freedom. In stillness, excuses vanish. Blame's left as you, face to face with reality. Do you find yourself living the life you truly envisioned? Are you becoming the version of yourself you once promised you would be? Are you walking the path that aligns with who you are destined to become? These thoughts grow louder when the world grows quiet because there is nothing to mask them. And once those questions appear in your mind, you cannot unhear them. That's the hidden force of stillness. It strips away illusions and demands truth. Consider how life feels when you are constantly surrounded by noise and stimulation. The hours disappear while you scroll endlessly, pretending it's relaxation. You speak without depth and call it connection. You distract yourself with entertainment and label it joy. But somewhere deep down, you sense the void that those things never fill. Silence tears away the mask you've been hiding behind and makes you confront what you've been avoiding. It feels uncomfortable at first, but in reality, it's the greatest gift you can offer yourself. Because once you acknowledge the truth, you finally hold the power to change it. That is when you stop numbing yourself and begin building the life you truly want. History shows us that greatness has always been born in quiet moments. Breakthrough and real transformation rarely come from noise. They rise from reflection, from solitude, from listening to your own inner voice. The fighter prepares in silence before he ever steps into battle. The leader gains vision in silence before he directs others. The artist finds his spark in silence before he shares his creation. Silence has always been the foundation of strength. Yet, because silence exposes imperfections, many people fear it. They run from it, preferring to bury themselves in constant distraction. They choose blindness over facing their own reality. They repeat the same cycles, stuck in patterns, refusing to grow because they won't sit in the quiet long enough to face the truth. But those who welcome silence, they ascend. They sharpen their wisdom, they grow resilient, and they see paths others overlook. They separate themselves from the masses because they dared to listen to what most are too afraid to hear. Silence also builds restraint. When you sit in it, you realize you don't react to everything. You don't need to fill the space with words or rush to respond. You learn patience. You learn to watch. You learn to move with intention rather than impulse. That kind of self-control it steadies you when chaos rises, it grounds you when storms come, and it calms you when everyone else loses composure. Practicing silence also strengthens discipline because it trains you to sell without escaping into constant stimulation. And when you master that, you master your own mind. Silence is also medicine. When the noise of the world overwhelms you, your spirit feels unsettled. But when you step into quiet, healing begins. Your mind repairs itself. Your heart steadies, your soul breathes again. Many wounds linger unhealed because people keep covering them with noise, but silence gives you the space to feel, to release, to rebuild. True healing cannot happen in chaos. It requires stillness. The reality is that silence is not only peace, it is also power. When you can sit in whole, you become stronger than most. You no longer depend on distractions to feel alive. You stop needing validation, entertainment, or noise to feel complete. You realize that your strength comes from within, and when you reach that state, the world cannot manipulate you with its noise because you carry your own clarity. That is why you must stop avoiding silence. Stop treating it as nth weights. And truth is what sets you free. In quiet, you will discover answers no one else can provide. You will uncover strength that's been hidden. You will heal pain you've carried for years, and you will finally see the direction that distractions kept hidden. Silence exposes what noise works hard to conceal. Your fears, your desires, your potential, and your weaknesses. And once you face them, you become immovable. Because the one who can sit in silence and hear their own soul is the same one who can the loudest chaos and remain calm. Silence is never emptiness. Silence is clarity. And once you embrace it, you will never again be fooled by distractions. Real happiness has always been an inner construction, not something handed to you by the world. Yet this is one of the hardest truths for people to accept. From childhood, society sells you the illusion that joy arrives when you acquire external things, the car, the money, the recognition, the partner, the approval. So people chase endlessly, believing that the next achievement, the next possession, the next relationship will complete them. But here's the painful truth: external can never fill the emptiness within. If your happiness is built on things outside yourself, you become dependent on them. And the moment they disappear, your joy vanishes too. That's why so many climb mountains of success only to feel hollow at the top. They believed the next victory would give them peace, but instead they carried their emptiness along. External happiness is fragile and temporary. It relies on circumstances you cannot always control. Those who live this way are tossed around by life. If people praise them, they glow. If people criticize, they crumble. If money flows, they feel strong. If money dries up, they collapse. If love comes, they feel alive. If love fades, they feel broken. That isn't happiness, it's dependency. Real joy begins the moment you stop looking outward and begin creating it inside. You realize happiness is not discovered, it is built. And when you build it within, you are free. You no longer depend on approval, possessions, or conditions to feel complete. You don't need perfection to feel peace. You don't need applause to feel worthy. You don't need life to bend in your favor to feel joy. Happiness built inside is permanent because it rests on the only foundation that never shakes you. It is rooted in self-respect, in discipline, in living aligned with your values, in gratitude for existence itself rather than what you can take from it. That type of happiness can never be stolen by circumstances. People chase happiness in material goods, but objects lose their shine. The car becomes ordinary. The house becomes just another place you live. The clothes fade and the trends shift. Others chase happiness in relationships, but no partner can carry the burden of your emptiness forever. Enter love empty, and you will drain the other person. When they cannot sustain you, you will feel abandoned. Others chase happiness in achievements, but the moment one milestone is reached, another appears, and the chase continues. External happiness is an illusion, it never lasts, but inner joy is efferent. It comes from self-awareness, from accepting yourself, from taking responsibility instead of blaming, from enjoying the simplicity of life. It comes when you realize you don't need permission to feel worthy. You already are. It comes when you savor the silence, when you respect your body, when you value your mind, when you simply acknowledge being alive. When happiness flows from within, even the smallest things bring joy because your joy doesn't rely on them. It radiates outward. Building inner happiness takes effort. It's not wishful thinking. It's discipline, growth, and self-mastery. It's choosing to honor your health, keeping promises to yourself, growing stronger each day, forgiving your past, living in truth, and refusing to depend on approval. Every choice you make to strengthen yourself adds a foundation no storm can break. And the paradox is, once you've built happiness inside, external things gain meaning again. The house, the car, the recognition, they still matter, but they no longer control you. You enjoy them without being enslaved. You can lose them without losing yourself. You can love without desperation. You can succeed without arrogance. Because your happiness was whole before they arrived. External blessings become conditions, not necessities. True joy doesn't come from stacking possessions, but from sharpening perspective. It doesn't come from applause, but from authenticity. It is not handed to you by others, it is chosen by you. The strongest people are not those who own the most, but those who need the least. They walk through life steady and complete, not because the world gave them happiness, but because they built it within. So stop running after happiness like it's somewhere outside waiting. Stop believing the false promise that the next achievement, the next possession, or the next love will make you whole. You already carry everything you need. Happiness is not a destination, it's a creation. You build it daily in the way you live, the way you think, the way you treat yourself, and once you build it within, no one can take it away. Peace and happiness are never gifts from the world, they are forged inside you. Solitude is not weakness, it is power. External validation fades, but inner peace endures. Loving your own company makes you unshakable because you stop fearing loneliness. Silence, though uncomfortable, holds the truths distractions try to bury. And above all, happiness is not found in things, in people, or in recognition. It is built brick by brick through discipline, authenticity, and self-respect. The world will constantly try to convince you that you are not enough, that you must chase more. But you do not have to play that game. You hold the power to step away, to embrace silence, to respect yourself, and to create happiness from the inside. That is the beginning of freedom. Because once you master your inner world, nothing outside can ever break you. And when you finally reach that place, you'll understand the greatest truth of all. You were never searching for happiness and peace. You were only searching for yourself.